Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared, and this is the Questionable Garage. And this is my very broken M96 Porsche engine that came out of our all-wheel drive, very broken Porsche. I was able to turn a broken 4Runner into a rusted Jeep into a broken Porsche, and we maybe overextended a little bit. I've spent my entire budget buying the car, and the engine's very broken. Your timing chain should not do that. I don't know much about these engines. I know a 2JZ inside and out, and I figured I should find someone who knows this engine like I know the 2JZ, and there just so happens in Cleveland, Georgia, my friend Jonathan.
How's it going?
He's built a lot of these engines over many, many years. So I say you're like the 2JZ M96 variant of me. I've probably done nearing 300 2Js of all kinds of power levels. You're pretty close when we were talking.
Yeah. I've done a whole lot of them. I've done a lot of M96, M97s.
Now, most viewers probably know what these are known for. It's the very first water-cooled Porsche engine. Enthusiasts hated it. It's still the greatest sports car ever made. But what are like the known first things that are going to fail on this engine?
The IMS bearing, cylinders. That's about it. IMS bearings and cylinders.
The good news is they're both very cheap fixes, right?
Yeah, no.
No, it's got to come to this point.
No.
So the IMS bearing, that's the intermediate shaft, and the way these work is you have your timing set here and a timing set here, front and back. I don't know why they did that. I guess they wanted a really expensive shaft in the middle to connect everything.
Yeah, make it all fit.
Yeah, so then the IMS, you run into oiling problems, right? And the bearing type wasn't very good, so those would explode.
Yeah, the bearing is a sealed bearing, so what happens is people don't change their oil, and then it makes that seal swell down because that old cooked oil makes it get hard.
Right.
And the first time they drive it, after it's been sitting after a long winter, it expands that seal back out, and all it has is old oil that washed out all that grease that was in the sealed bearing.
Yep.
So then they explode.
So when we're talking sealed bearing, hopefully Dwayne will pop up a picture. You have bearings with exposed cages that get fresh oil and are able to be lubricated well. A sealed bearing, you have hard seals that press in, and it's basically meant to be lifetime grease.
Yep.
And what we have learned in the real world, vehicle's lifetime is not a manufacturer's lifetime, ever.
No.
Warranty is the lifetime of a part, pretty much. And then the cylinder walls, we were talking the previous episode, this engine is very flat. And when the cylinder walls get damaged and scored, what is causing all of that to happen to where you almost have to throw away your centers?
Well, I'm pretty sure the pistons expand faster than the cylinders do in extreme cold climates and stuff, so anything above the Mason-Dixon line usually has cylinder problems. It's a ticking time bomb until you fix it right the first time. So
now, how stupid was I for starting this engine?
Very, very stupid. I would never start one of these motors that have a timing problem.
That you know has got a problem? Listen, someone else had already been running it. Like, it was done for. Like, I don't think I did this. Because the very first time, have you ever seen a chain do this?
It's supposed to be connected, yeah.
Yeah. This is supposed to loop together. It made a horrendous squeal, like, instantly. So I don't think I caused the damage.
You're lucky that didn't snap a cam with that scavenge pump.
So that's enough kind of introduction to the engine, the problems. Jonathan, we need to take this apart to see exactly how ruined this is, how much can be salvaged, and then I can get a cost estimate of rebuilding this thing. All right, so are these buckets going to try to escape? Or are they going to stay pretty smooth?
You want to pull the tensioner on your side right here. There's this. You take it off. Okay. Take this tensioner out. You want to do that before you pull these chains and pull the caps.
Normal.
Oh yeah, that side.
I was going to say.
But I forgot about that side. Yeah, you're good. They'll stay put. Yeah.
timing guide.
Yeah, that's a normal. You're gonna have to buy those anyways.
What?
Yeah, I actually have some probably. I might throw them your way. I like to try to break them all loose by hand. That's just because you have less likely to strip out.
Yeah.
And you want to get a good Allen head if you got a perfect brand new one that fits them tight, because these things are prone to do exactly what this one did over here.
There we go. Ready for you.
Old dentist tools.
Oh, yep.
When you go to the dentist, you say, hey doc, don't throw those away.
I just buy the couple dollar ones from, even though they sanitize them, I just don't know about the whole thing being in someone's
I'm getting my
mouth.
money's worth at the dentist.
Compliment them on some things and just go, what were you thinking on others?
Yeah, engineers.
Not just engineers, German engineers.
Well, more like accountants.
I don't know, I feel like
Oh,
Porsche,
no,
Porsche might be one of the few companies that don't go accountants first.
I've taken apart two 5 Boxsters that have near billet parts, and then a year or two later they go to like a different casting style, and you can tell it's cheaper. It just feels cheaper.
So unlike everyone else who you don't want to buy early model year, buy early model year Porsche.
I had a 2.5 Boxster. It screamed the tires up a mountain. You were always in it. And that was the best part. It was the most fun. It's like driving a Miata, but faster. You hear that, Miata guys? The hairdresser.
I don't know any Miata person that actually is going to be like, no, Miata's, it's got lots of horsepower. It's fast.
I've had some Miatas chase me up a mountain before, so I can't say too much, but. These are your chainrail guide pins.
Yep.
You have to pull those.
I remember reading about those when I thought it was just going to be chain guides and go.
No, that's a never.
Joke's on me.
Your chainrail guides look okay. You could reuse those. That one.
Well, could. If we're being real though.
I've done some
super budget builds.
Some get this thing to the track soon cars.
Well, the good news is
okay too. It's good cleaning.
This is good as possible.
Good as possible.
All right, not good enough. We want to make it, if it gets built,
we've done all right.
We want to do it right, which to me is looking more like the LS, huh?
No, never.
No? What if it's a 700 horsepower supercharged one?
Yeah.
The problem is it's still going to sound like an LS. You cannot escape that.
You really can't.
You can do cool stuff with like 180 degree headers, and you know there's stuff to make them sound not LS-y. But you can't in a Porsche. You got 2 inches of exhaust.
You just make it so quiet you can't hear it. Then that way nobody knows the difference.
I don't know. Has anyone done an all-wheel drive LS? I'm sure they had to have, but everyone I've always seen are just the rear axle Grazianos. I've not seen an all-wheel drive
I don't know.
LS swap.
Well, because the all-wheel drive cars are worth not LS swapping.
There we go.
People will notice in the video that I told you to take them out by hand and then me use the impact.
So when I was at the dealer, every apprentice I had, anytime we did any work, their first time doing the job, they did it by the book.
Yeah.
And they would argue. They'd be like, hey, why is so-and-so, you know, doing it this way? It's obviously so much faster. And I'm like, it is faster, but I don't want you to learn the shortcut first.
Yeah,
you need to know what you're doing and understand why you're doing it. You should never learn the shortcut because you don't understand what you're shortcutting. Why does doing it a particular way work? Because if all you ever do is keep teaching shortcuts, you end up with parts changers, people who can't diagnose why something went wrong. I take it these are torque to yield bolts?
Which ones?
Huh?
Which one?
The cylinder heads?
Yes.
You can generally tell when you're, you know, hemorrhaging a little bit and your eyes start to swell.
Yep, before you get them return purple. Just take your lifter tray,
Ah, I see.
set it like that, and then that way you can put all your lifters back in here. And then you know where they came out of.
Oh, you hang on to the O-rings just kind of as a forced reminder.
Just so that way you know you never throw away a part until you've gotten the one in the motor replacing it. That way you know you never forget anything, especially if you've never
First
done
time
that
through
kind.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 2J, I can just throw everything in one box, know exactly where it goes.
Oh, I've put my fair share of box specials together. Thank you, people who do that to me. Everybody's had that first time you get a box special of something you don't know.
I don't think that guide's probably reusable. What do you think?
No.
The fact that we got two nice track lines formed there from the chain
Track
slopping.
lines. See the horizontal cracks too?
Yeah.
Horizontal crack, horizontal crack.
What are the possibility they did it rear? The rear got new guides, but not the front. Or knowing the shop this went through, probably not.
The core that they had gotten had a perfect looking guide, but this doesn't have a single edge line, but that's the side that this happened to. So
we're
could have
probably
been
gonna find all that in here.
that's definitely a Wales how I sees it, probably.
That's one of those times. It's hard to always justify just spending more and more, but
Yeah.
on certain critical things, there's times that it really is just.
There's no reason to fix something unless it ain't broke, right?
I get it, and guides are not cheap. Well, one thing we also noticed is, yes, this had an upgraded IMS, but it's a very, very early upgrade IMS, and since then, like, they have more of what they call lifetime stuff. It's just the timing of when this broke and got built
Yeah, you never know.
wasn't an option yet.
You gotta pull the Torx bit for that.
So what?
The cinders over here, we'll be able to pull the head. You'll have to pull that off too. These motors are also known as an internal dry sump. Which is kinda
Oh, internal dry sump?
Yeah, because it's sectioned off because of the tray that's on the actual crank scraper, basically, for the carrier.
So they're kind of sort of like an LS7, a moist sump.
Yeah.
Like they call them dry sumps, but they're, you know.
This was pretty sectioned off. There's nothing.
Okay.
It's got a V valley in it that everything dumps into, but it technically is still a sump. I mean, it's still a. Man, oh man, I got one bolt that's gonna hate me, I think.
Don't do that. Ta-da! Let go. Hey, those valves are totally fine. Look at that.
That's definitely getting new valves. And you're gonna want to check it to make sure the head's not cracked.
Listen, I think that's what they're supposed to look like. It's that variable compression option.
I wonder if you can
It goes alongside with that variable timing option. In my non-expert opinion, I'm not seeing anything that makes me go, oh no!
Well, you got witness marks on your pistons.
Well, yeah. But
Your
I'm
rods-
referring to that.
These rods are, you breathe on them wrong.
There's like a tiny
There's
one.
a witness mark right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's...
Your cylinders look okay so far, but
Oh, we need to rotate.
that's small. That ain't nothing. No,
Yeah.
that's good.
So that might be the only good news so far.
Hey-oh.
We'll take what we can get. Listen, if we escape, so in theory, that side was in time, right?
Nah.
Currently, it is looking like 2 valves, head work. Well, no, I'm gonna shut up because we haven't even opened the
Yeah,
engine.
don't say good things until.
Although, really, a best case scenario overhaul on this is still $8,000 with cylinder heads.
Yeah.
And I have precisely like a $30. You're good for McDonald's for lunch, right? Like that's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
paying you, right? McDonald's?
Yeah. McDonald's is good with me.
Actually, I'm gonna go even cheaper than going and buying you fresh McDonald's. I got some Factor in the fridge.
Some ramen.
No, it's better than ramen. It's better than McDonald's. The pre-made meals, I love those things. I think there's a Tuscan chicken in there, and I think we got a jalapeno chicken. Because
Oh,
normally
that's
I
good.
don't stop and go anywhere, and
That's
instead
good.
I get really good food that I can cook. There's right here.
Came out right there. It could be part of your block.
No.
Looks like machine surface right there.
Yeah, that can't be scabby. Oh wait, no, right here.
Is it? Oh yeah. Okay, that's
Oh.
also sandcast and machine surface. You're lucky. Look at you.
Oh,
There you go. See the, with my 130 fingernail.
a little higher.
Oh, a little higher. Oh,
There we go. There now. Yeah, you find scary metal, and you're like, no.
You know, I want to terrify him with my assessment first, and then we'll find the right thing.
Well, okay, we have gotten a lot of progress done. Jonathan said I've only slowed him down a little bit. We're fairly certain we have found and kind of established the cause of what caused all the failure, and it goes to show you need to clean these engines, right? That's kind of what you're thinking, the culprit.
Well, we'll only know when we get it completely apart because you don't know what the IMS looks like now. But
True, it could be a fresh failure, but initial impressions when it came apart were not instantly having to throw this engine away, right? Our cylinder walls are...
yeah, see your scavenge pump broke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cause of failure. So if you remember when I first took this thing apart, this pump was broken. We found that piece of aluminum, but the actual gear is broken. This is a small piece that we're believing came from the IMS bearing. It was the carrier that locates all the rollers and the balls. It got carried up by the chain, got into here, and you can actually see the impression of it in these different areas. So, and then that's the spot right there. It's a perfect match.
Get it loose.
Stopped that thing cold and basically simultaneously snapped our chain and snapped that drive.
Snap the drive.
Going on other positive scenarios, now we've not fully turned the engine over yet. These cylinder walls, they're really showing almost no scoring at all. Your cylinder head visually looks pretty good. My cylinder head has variable compression valves. If you notice, our exhaust valves are not closed. They,
There you go, guys. The full piece.
oh yeah.
Took a little while to get, but there it is.
Yeah, that's how it looks totally when it's
Complete.
not broken. Yeah, completed. So we got the thing standing upright. You notice something kind of weird on the IMS, but nothing real definitive. Possibly a clip came undone. It's one of those things. This had some tattletale stickers for overheating on it, and a couple other things that kind of indicate that it maybe came from one place, but not necessarily the work to match it.
And C4Ss are known for running warmer because they have more drivetrain. It's got the windage, the LN windage tray.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, see that's
really thin and
That is clear baggy material, it looks like.
FOD,
FOD.
foreign object.
Yep, it's definitely FOD.
The rest of the screen looks pretty good. More of that baggy material. What is it, just twist?
See how the cam lock basically, so twist it. Sometimes you can see if there's any foreign objects, because what that is it's a defoamer. So the oil comes in, it swirls in this, and then comes out the bottom. So that way, these engines move so much oil. That
Yeah,
it
just as they're
foams them
punching around, and yeah, it
Yeah,
froths. And nothing is worse than frothy oil.
up. Yep.
The next step in splitting our case is we have all the perimeter bolts, and then I think there's a couple like pass-through, like really deep bolts, right? That you need a really long socket to.
No, say all these perimeter bolts, then we'll lay it
Like,
down
really,
on one
that's-
side.
All
And-
these 10s are what holds it together.
Yep, all those 10s are all that holds it together. Because the head bolts go all the way to the carrier.
into the middle, so your head bolts are kind of your main bolts.
Until it gets the main bolts that hold the whole motor, basically.
The head bolt, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
It keeps everything aligned with dowels. Just that's the same as the heads.
What a mess.
Take apart an M96 on a table, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Hey, do you got engine stands?
Yep.
We don't need no engine stands. We got
No,
mops.
we're giving up. Giving up on gloves.
I've learned many times, go gentle. Sometimes things take a little force, but
Yeah.
it should never be as hard as you're applying. And like if it's a lot of force,
There we go.
stop and just do another perimeter check.
Yep.
Because you can cause a
Oh,
lot.
I'm with you. I'm with.
Something's binding over
It's
here.
it's just that there's
The
a dowel.
Okay.
So
Because it looks like it's free everywhere but
the
that
pistons
corner.
are holding it that just little bit. Now it'll literally probably wiggle right off. There it goes. All right, you grab one corner of this side, and it will just pull directly up.
All right, you got it?
Yep, I got it. I'm just gonna set it down on its front.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm just spinning it around. Set it on its face.
The rings are like a little sticky in the pistons just from
Yeah.
some oil, but they're still pretty springy and overall.
That's a 90,000 mile engine.
So no wonder it fails. So it rides on a bushing in the front. This is the IMS shaft,
Yep.
and it's just a bushing basically on the front half.
Your rear half drives your 1.3 bank, and your front half drives your 4.6 bank.
All right, so that's next.
So now
might be
we can
hard
take the rods off of this one, and this one.
Oh, to
It'll make it
simplify.
just that little bit easier. They stay in the cylinders as we're pulling that carrier out. Those are torqued to 45 foot-pounds.
My
Somebody-
only, they're cracked rods.
Yep, they are crack rods.
So what I'm referencing, you can see how that surface looks broken. They literally kind of machine them and forge them with a minor scoring mark, and then they break them. And that actually creates a better sealing mating surface, as weird as that sounds. The erratic area has more surface area.
Oop.
At least it's light.
Yeah, no, it's not. Now we can set it right across. Set it up, and you can pull those rods off the other side. Go ahead and put the rod caps back
yeah.
on.
Because our bearings look great. All right, so our initial look at the IMS is it doesn't look perfect, but it does not appear to be what broke.
Nope,
So that means
it's a fully rebuildable motor.
well, and 90% likelihood that was old material.
Yeah,
That after 40,000 miles, finally was like, all right,
given that this IMS has had the issue it's had though, I would pull it out and replace it completely with the solution.
piston skirt looks
Good. Yeah, this is a fully rebuildable motor.
Oh, you know what? That's a lot better news. So why are the piston rings, why do they have a stopper in it?
So that's so that the piston doesn't have, since these are high compression motors, and since they run a gap of, I think, 15,000, it's so that this ring and this ring
Won't spin.
They don't get aligned together through combustion.
Okay.
And it also keeps a wear the exact same through that cylinder.
Let's take a good look at our IMS. And then I'm going to start cleaning up this mess, and you are going to start putting together a price.
Oh, I don't want to tell you.
All right, things are cleaned up. Jonathan has put together a number, but before we get to that, let's show you some of the engine case parts that we've got all taken apart, and we finally found what some of our metal was from. Like, literally just figured it out as we were trying to go through it all. So again, our cylinders here, our cylinder halves, they look phenomenal. It's a good thing, because this is one of the quick things that more or less will mechanically total a rebuild. Like, these are rebuildable, good cores. All of our bearings, like our bearing sections here on the rods, they have almost all brand new material in them. Like, a bearing has its initial coating, and then it has what it lives on, and sometimes you never get through that initial coating. Pistons look good. We have that one pair of valves fully bent. There might be more damage there, but we still do not know where that came from. It's a hardened tool steel. We're both fairly confident it was probably a bearing cage from the old IMS. That's like the only thing we can really put together. It makes no other sense. We found a bunch of other material, and what we just realized that was when this locked up and it broke the timing chain, those are actually the spacers on the link. So that's just part of the failure, not the cause of the failure, right?
This broke this broke that, and then it broke that.
So the timing chain brought up that chunk of metal that locked up our scavenge pump, stopped dead cold, broke the chain.
Yep.
Our valves decided to introduce themselves to
the piston.
The piston, as I Do Cars calls it, there was malice in the combustion palace. I like that phrase. It's a good one. So it's not as bad as it could have been. But
definitely fixable.
What is
Needs
fixable? What are we talking dollar amounts and parts?
New scavenge pumps, new timing chains, new gasket kit, new head gaskets, new IMS, because don't quite trust the one that's in there.
And if it's a part anytime,
might as well just go and replace
it.
Put a new water pump, put a new AOS, put a new air oil separator, a new heat exchanger
for the oil.
Yep. Yeah. New chain rail guides.
Oh, come on, those were fine. It's only missing most of the plastic.
Nope. Go ahead and do that. And then the
heads have to go to a machine shop.
The heads need to go to a machine shop.
Okay.
For sure.
So.
And the chain rail guide on the heads, one of them needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
So you're looking.
What's that dollar? Like that, those are parts. What's the price?
Probably about $8,000 or so.
The biggest problem is my entire budget's currently in the car.
Yeah.
And that's not labor. Like, the only labor baked into that is the machine shop, which therein lies one problem. There's, again, the three scenarios on this car. We rebuild this, it's $8,000. We do an LS swap, which I'm not the biggest fan of. We were talking, I don't know that I've ever seen an all-wheel drive LS swap, and that's because this car currently, you were saying if it's running well, especially with a fully documented rebuild, it's done right.
It's worth more.
It's like a $40,000 to $45,000 car potentially, which easily it's going to be 35, which is still a tremendous profit. But
the car's worth too much to put an LS in. You might as well just fix a motor that's in it, because it is what it is.
Ultimately, it's going to cost like the same. Like $8,000 in fixing this, a proper LS swap, you're spending $8,000 really quickly anyway. So
German.
But I don't have the budget for it. So the other option is the part out. I have a guy that buys me out. But I'm personally not a biggest fan of that because we don't make any money and move anything forward. I'm not sure what we're doing, but I do want to address something real quick. Regardless, we checked with the machine shop and it's legitimately potentially 2 months on a set of cylinder heads. So this isn't a forgotten project. It's literally one that we have to set aside because the moment I sent these cylinder heads out, we have to wait. Like there's people who can get it done quicker. These are a specialty head. I've always felt like unless you have a long established relationship, if you walk into a machine shop and they get to you that day, there might be a reason that they're not busy because there is not a thing in the world right now that is not a backed up machine shop.
Yeah.
Like they're just, they don't exist. So we had 3 really quick episodes on the Porsche. Unfortunately, no matter what direction we go, there's a wait on parts, on time, on anything. So we're not giving up on the project. It's just, we have to wait. So I'm going to post a couple behind the scene updates as we're moving along on this project for the members, just so that way there's a little extra perk if you guys wanted to sign up. Jonathan, thank you very much for lending expertise.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for.
I guess I'm gonna go donate some plasma or something so that way I can start buying.
You don't need both your kidneys.
So I appreciate you guys, as always, hanging out with us here in the shop as we make very questionable choices. And this was one where they didn't quite get all the metal out, apparently. Who knows? It took 40,000 miles, but it blew it up. So join us next time as we continue to make questionable choices. I've already said that. I'm kind of a little sticker shock because normally I can fix things for like some baling twine and $20. So
No baling twine here.
we'll see you next time. Hey, remember when you kind of were like, hey, if you've got any opportunities you wanted to kind of help out a little bit, get in and maybe make a little bit of money? I've got an idea if you want to. It's kind of a sure thing. We're going to do pretty good on it. Yeah, no, it's not a small number. We'll probably need about 10,000 or so coming in. Yeah, come on, but listen, I'm not asking you to judge me on the winners. Judge me on my losers because there's so few. Like this is a sure thing. We're gonna do good. You're in? All right, I'll put you down on it. We'll get stuff coming for it. All right.